What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this POV review by Autobahn. My name is Max, and today we are taking a look at the all-new 2023-2024 Porsche Cayenne. It has been facelifted and there have been quite a few changes on this car. So not only have they facelifted the exterior, but also underneath, and the interior has had some big changes. So we're going to take a look at those and then we'll take it for a drive towards the Autobahn for an Autobahn blast. So today we've got the e-hybrid version, so the regular Cayenne e-hybrid, which is probably the most popular one in Europe. It makes the 3-liter V6 with an electric boost, and that means that you have very good fuel economy. Also, you have a lot of benefits in Europe for taxes and stuff like that, because it is a hybrid and it has a very low CO2 emission and very good fuel economy. So that is why this is very popular. It's also the first one that's introduced here in the Netherlands, which is why we've got it as the first one, but we will definitely check out all the new versions. The new Cayenne S, for instance, has a V8 now instead of a V6, so that is cool. We do lose the Turbo GT in Europe and parts of Asia because of emission standards, but we get a Turbo SE hybrid with a GT package, which saves a bit of weight. So we'll definitely be driving that later this year. That is cool. So today I'm going to focus on what has changed with the e-hybrid and the Cayenne in general. We've got a new front end, new headlights with this 4-light design. We've got a bit of, what is that, like brushed aluminium look in there as well. New front bumper, and it definitely looks very good, I think. It's a super handsome car, if you ask me. It used to be, I mean, the first Cayennes were like notoriously ugly, but I think it's probably now one of the best looking SUVs. It's very conservative now. It only changes a little bit with each generation, and I think it's not too ostentatious, especially in this color Algarve blue. Very nice, I like it. It's a very classy color. Wheels, tires, brakes. So we've got these 21-inch wheels, quite a nice design, with around that Nexen Empresa Sport SUV tires. Never had that on a Porsche, not sure why. Nexen is not really that premium, I would say, but maybe they are coming up. 285 tires at the front. Behind that we've got regular Porsche brakes. I have to say they are not the best. Pedal feel is a bit weird because you feel the difference between actually braking and regenerative braking. But also they are not really up for the task if you start driving it harder. Now I know a lot of e-hybrid people are probably not going to push it hard, but still, the brakes were smoking after one Autobahn run, and I mean, the car weighs 2,500 kilos. It's not weird, it's not strange. I mean, it has to slow down a lot of weight, but still, good to know that they kind of give up quite soon. Lovely flake in there as well when the sun hits it in that color. Super nice. E-hybrid badge there, lovely chrome trim around the windows, and we've got a coupe today. Of course, you also still have the regular SUV shape, which I prefer, but this is the more sporty shape. And I have to say that rear seat space is actually pretty good. This seat is very far back and I can actually sit behind it, so that is quite impressive. Headroom is limited, of course, because of the sloping roofline, but all in all, I would say this is very good. Very spacious. For adults, no problem. New rear light design as well, still with the LED bar. We've got a sport exhaust, which is an option on this car, which means that you get quite a nice fruity sound when you want it, but also when you don't want it. But we'll talk about that in a minute. First, let's take a look at the engine. So we've got the 3-liter V6 combined with an electric motor housed in the transmission. This has got 353 horsepower and 500 Newton meters. Then you've got the electric motor with 176 horsepower, which is 30 horsepower more than before, which gives you a total of 470 horsepower and 650 Newton meters of torque, which is quite nice. That is a proper, that is a good amount of power, I would say. Now, We've got the same battery pack as before. Width-wise, it weighs 130 kilos, but it is more efficient. So it's 25.9 kilowatt hour, and it means that the electric range pre-facelift to facelift went from something like 55 kilometers to 90 kilometers in this, which is quite a big bump. You can also charge it up flat to full in 2.5 hours on an 11 kilowatt charger. So that is also pretty nice. So let's get in, because this also has had a big update, the interior, because we've got basically a Cayenne screen behind that, the curved 12-inch display with all digital dials, which is a shame. I really liked that Porsche still kept that analog rev counter in the middle with the digital speed, and then 2 digital screens either side. This, yeah, it's more of the same, which I think is a shame. Also, we don't have like the twisty key thing anymore. We have a regular start-stop button, so that's also a bit of Porsche uniqueness gone. Yeah, that's a shame. These things, I feel like, if everyone just starts doing the same in every car, then it's really going to be difficult to separate them and to still have, you know, a bit of Porsche, a bit of BMW, a bit of Audi, a bit of whatever. It's if everyone is going to do the same things, then yeah, that's going to go away. We also have the gear lever here, like a Cayenne. Again, don't have a proper gear lever anymore. That does free up some storage space, but yeah, I don't really care about that. We've got a wireless charger with cooling here, which is quite clever, and then physical climate buttons, which is great, volume button, great, cup holders, and some more storage in here. And then the great, yeah, this is a good system. It's very quick, it's sharp. You can also get a second display there if you really don't know what to do with your money anymore. And we've got Burmester audio, which is really good. We also have the Porsche 911 steering wheel, basically, with the twisty knob there and the really great pedals. And we've got the driving modes, so we're in e-power now, but if you go to hybrid, sport, sport plus, and off-road even. So you usually start in e-power, that's the default setting. So if we start it up, that's what we're going into. And that means that you have just electric drive. So that means that when you hit drive in e-power mode, you can creep away. You do get a bit of that like futuristic electric sound. But it's actually nice. I quite like it. But let's hit Sport Plus for the tunnel. You can immediately hear that engine coming to life. And it sounds pretty good. It's definitely a very clean and crisp V6 sound. So hit that button to get manual mode, first gear. You get a bit of a burble as well on the overrun. And oh, yeah, turn in. The Cayenne still is, it's probably the best handling base SUV there is. It is so amazing. The steering is very light and direct as well. I think they made it even lighter. Very impressive. It just goes into a corner like nothing else. It's so good. Even this version, I mean, you do feel the weight, of course, being a hybrid. You do feel that you've got 2500 kilos, but they really are able to cover that up very well. We've got air suspension, which is optional. They also fiddled around with that, so the difference between Sport Plus and Comfort is now bigger, or normal and Sport Plus. Now, one very annoying thing is that you always have to turn off. You hear that sound? That's because I get too close to the middle. And you always have to turn it off. As well as the speed warning, which is even more ridiculous. You get an audible warning when you go over the speed limit, and I was testing this. I was driving 102 and it started beeping at me. on a road with a 100 km/h speed limit. That is just too annoying. So both those things, you have to turn it off every time because they are activated every time you get in. Super annoying. Now, we also have an 8-speed ZF gearbox, which is amazing. Very quick shifts, always does what you expect it to do, which is great. And also the engine and the electric motor, they work really well together. You might have seen our review with the C63S, the new one with the 4-cylinder. I actually quite liked that car, but I didn't really like the way the 4-cylinder and the electric motor worked together. This is much, much better. Just going to give that tractor a bit of space and let you guys hear it. That sounds good. Now, I do have to say that with this sports exhaust, it's always there. Even when you're driving on the highway in hybrid mode, at some RPMs you can actually hear and feel the exhaust. You can feel the vibration through your feet, the passenger as well, but the driver even more because you feel it through the pedals. And that is quite annoying. It's something I didn't really expect with this car. I don't really understand why they did that. It almost feels like it has a leaky downpipe or something. But when you're on it, it sounds really good. So let's go to hybrid mode. That closes the exhaust, but still it's there. So let's let it go to 8th gear. Or 6th or 7th. It's very present. Okay. So, onto the Autobahn we go. You definitely feel that boost, that initial boost of the electric motor is very nice. It kind of picks up the slack of that 3-liter V6 turbo. Okay, here we go, full throttle. Top speed is 254 kilometers an hour. 0 to 100, 4.9 seconds. Full throttle. It's quick. It's actually pretty quick. We did like 13.2 if I'm not mistaken, 100 to 200. And yeah, that's actually pretty good. I also have a little head-up display that says boost right now, so I know that I'm getting full electric power as well as full petrol power. But it's a very nice car. As like, this is the base car in the Netherlands. It's even cheaper than the 4-cylinder Macan because you have a hybrid drivetrain and we get a big tax break in the Netherlands. So value for money wise, this thing is pretty unbeatable. So in Sport Plus mode, the air suspension lowers and goes into a stiffer mode, which is very nice. It's actually quite a big difference. So if I put the chassis in normal, it actually also raises up even at this speed. But now it absorbs everything. Oh, so well. That's quite a significant bump there. This as well, but it just soaks it up. This air suspension is so good. Porsche really has that down these days. In all the cars, the air suspension is just glorious. In your daily driving, you know, with speed bumps and stuff like that, it is so delicious. It just floats over everything. But even when I put it in hybrid mode, let's see what happens. So the engine now completely shuts off. You can see the rev counter goes to 0. And the coasting is really good. So it just lets you coast. And it rolls with so little resistance. And then you've got the sports response button right there. So click that. And then we've got 20 seconds of full attack mode. picks up, boosts immediately. That is quite nice. Also opens up the exhaust. You can hear that the exhaust closes again when the sport response is over. That was quite noticeable. But what happens if you're just driving along in your hybrid mode, you're just doing normal stuff, and then you want to, okay, let's let it shift up, 7th gear. Eighth gear. Okay, you're just driving along. Does need to think a bit, but you get that initial electric boost. But again, it doesn't lag behind. The engine doesn't lag behind the electric power like with that C63. It feels like they're working together, and I think mainly that's down to the gearbox, but also of course that big turbo on the 4-cylinder in the C63 has a lot of turbo lag. Even though it has that electric turbocharger, it still has lag, so it needs to catch up, whereas this just works way quicker. So yeah, great drivetrain, actually quite like it. I think for daily driving you don't really need more than this. Of course the V8 would be very nice, but this is very, very nice, quite like it. So last little run towards the border before the fun is over. I'm going to end it here. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. You can subscribe by clicking the big button. You can check out this video, this playlist, and I hope to see you at the next one. Bye guys.